we talk about building rapport with someone, remember that building rapport can be equated to building trust. So when we look at building rapport with a certain group of people, such as parents, what we're really saying is, how do we build trust with parents? Now, if you're a parent yourself, you may already be able to think of a few ways to do so. Here, let me offer some thoughts and observations as they relate to building rapport with parents within our church ministries. The first thing to realize is that many parents who are connected to a Catholic church tend to be connected through the church's faith formation programming or kids programming offered by that church. While they may or may not come to Mass regularly, they may be enrolling their children in faith formation or sacramental preparation. Whether this is out of guilt or general interest, this does show that faith has at least some importance in parents' lives. Otherwise, they just wouldn't do this at all, and they wouldn't enroll their kids. There's actually a big opportunity if a church can see their faith formation and any other kids programming they may offer as an on-ramp for parents into the life of the church, and use these programming and opportunities as a means to build initial trust with parents and families. There's a great point of convergence here that we need to communicate to parents. A church, through what they offer to kids and the subsequent quality of what they offer, show that they care about the same thing as parents, their kids. When you offer something for kids, you're doing something for parents. It's just a matter of finding the right way or means to do it so as to best attract and meet the needs of families in your community. And this leads to the second point that we need to realize. Something such as faith formation or kids programming in our churches can only be successful as an on-ramp for parents in building that initial trust if it actually helps you build a relationship with the parents. You can't build trust with someone you don't know. And while sending emails to parents and seeing them at drop-off and pick-up for programs is a great start, we have to go deeper in order to build rapport. We actually have to get to know them, and they have to know us beyond simply being a program coordinator or the person at church. Daunting? It can be. But here's the thing. There's no shortcut to building relationships. It simply takes investing time and interest in someone and their own life to build up trust. So how can we start? Well, start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start by trying to meet with parents you know are invested in what you do one by one. Start with just one parent or couple. Get to know them, their needs, and talk about their hopes for their kids' faith. This will help do two important things. Number one, you'll show that you care for and are invested in them and their kids. And number two, it'll give you valuable information to help you know what direction to move what your parish offers for kids. Once you've done that, well, do it again. Some parishes, for instance, have new parents registering in faith formation meet with their faith formation director when they go to register. Others try to do it throughout the course of the year. If you're not sure which way to go, do one of two things. First, you could go through your attendance list for faith formation and see which kids have the best attendance. This shows that their parents care about going to faith formation to some degree if their kids are coming regularly. So reach out to those parents first. Second, once you've met with one parent, ask them for recommendations on who to speak to next. If needed, invite other parish leaders to help you in trying to meet with parents in your parish over time. In one parish I worked at, when I was trying to evaluate and plan for our youth offerings as a parish for the future, I reached out to between 15 and 20 parents whose kids were regular attendees in our programs. I asked to meet with them at their convenience for coffee and to talk over the course of a month. Yes, I dedicated time specifically for this because I knew I needed to do it. They ended up being great opportunities to get to know these parents beyond just drop off and pick up at programs. I was able to hear their thoughts directly from them, show them that I was a real person who cared about them and their kids. Doing this allowed me to share vision with parents of what we were actually trying to do for families, giving them a why for our programs and offerings, which I don't think they had ever really been told, or at least not told personally. And it resulted in two fruits. The first fruit was there was a parent I met with who was inspired by our conversation to invite other parents to meet with me in their home. I got a chance to discuss with several moms for 2 hours over their concerns, their hopes, our shared Catholic faith, and their kids. At the end, one mom who had been away from our parish shared that what we had discussed needed to be heard by more people. And if more people heard it, she said, she thinks they would actually come back. It showed that there are just some conversations that can only be done in person. The other fruit was that more parents agreed to help with what we were doing for their kids because they got to know me as a person and what exactly it was we were trying to do, and more importantly, why. So in 1 year, I was able to double the amount of our parent volunteers. It was a powerful reflection for me that while rapport can take time and effort, and in my case, a lot of cups of coffee, we really can't bear a lot of fruit without it. As I previously shared, this will also help you know exactly what parents are going through and what their needs are. The truth is that parents do, by and large, care about their kids' faith. But they may not always know how to help their kids grow in faith or tackle other challenges in raising kids. They might become overwhelmed by signing up for too many things out of a desire to really give the best for their kids. Moreover, we as church are not always good at speaking to these needs. We may add requirements which don't always make sense to parents because they may not be coming to church regularly and have not internalized the why for why church is important. But then we don't necessarily speak to their broader concerns, such as navigating finances, marital issues, self-care, and just the general challenges of raising kids. When we get to know parents' needs, discuss with them how to better care for their kids, and then do something about both of those, we do a lot for building trust and rapport with them. While it's true that there's a generation of parents who were poorly catechized and who need catechesis, they're not going to return to Mass regularly because they are required to attend an adult catechesis class as part of their child's faith formation. While adult faith formation is good and necessary, remember that formation is a part of the step of discipleship. And before discipleship comes pre-evangelization, evangelization, and conversion. We need to recognize where parents are, and if they're not yet at discipleship, we need to first help care for their needs, especially aiding them in navigating parenting their kids. Part of the struggle in working with any group of people who aren't bought into what we're trying to do is that there is a lack of perceived value in what we're trying to do. Values generated by both speaking to people's needs and being consistent in quality over time. If someone like a parent, for instance, can experience the impact of what you're doing in their life and can come to rely on that time and again, then the value in what you're doing is generated. So the goal becomes this, that we create opportunities and spaces where we can impact the lives of families with consistent quality again and again. This may take sitting down and evaluating what a parish offers or doesn't offer for families, and even reaching out to families to include them in this evaluation and planning process. It may take time and effort, but it'll be well worth it because you'll have produced something from the input and needs of parents. And once you have built trust with certain parents and families and empowered them in what you're trying to do and create, they then become important advocates to other parents and families in your community. And that's a great way to continually draw new parents in and do the same thing all over again. And that's the beginnings of not just formation, but of actually ministering to families.